So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about different Hammer movies in recent months, but this week we're going to get into a classic, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Now, a lot of people have read this book or have seen different comic book or movie versions, but this Hammer version, just tremendous. Came out in 1959. This British Gothic mystery film was directed by the great Terence Fisher and produced by Hammer, based on a 1902 novel of the same title by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It has Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes, Christopher Lee as Sir Henry Baskerville, and Andre Bell as Dr. Watson. It is the first film adaptation of the novel to be filmed in color, and boys, it was beautiful. Now, in this one, Dr. Richard Mortimer recounts to Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in Baker Street the legend of the ghost hound that killed the devilish Sir Hugo Baskerville for his murder of the daughter of a servant. He asked Holmes to investigate the death of his friend Sir Charles Baskerville in Dartmoor from heart failure, who passed away in the moor surrounding his estate, which was Baskerville Hall, with a look of horror in his face. Mortimer fears for the life of Sir Henry, Sir Charles's nephew and heir, who just come from South Africa to take possession of his inheritance and of Baskerville Hall. Although skeptical, Holmes and Watson agree to meet Sir Henry, who complains that one of his boots is missing. Mortimer tells them that the Baskerville estate is worth about £1 million. A peculiar threat from a dangerous tarantula convinces Holmes that Sir Henry's life is in danger. Claiming that he cannot come to Baskerville Hall himself, Holmes dispatches Watson to Dartmoor with Mortimer and Sir Henry. Holmes tells Sir Henry not to go out onto moor after dark. Now, on the way to Baskerville Hall, the trio learns that Selden, a convicted murderer, has escaped Dartmoor prison and is hiding on the moor. At Bakersfield Hall, Mr. Barrymore, the butler, and Mrs. Barrymore, the housekeeper, showed him around the mansion. One of the two portraits of Sir Hugo was missing, and the Barrymore said it was mysteriously stolen months before. The next day, Sir Henry and Watson meet Bishop Franklin, a pastor and keen entomologist. Watson gets trapped in a patch of mire in the Grimpen Mire and is saved by a farmer named Stapleton and his daughter Cecile, a girl who bewitches Sir Henry. Now, that night, Watson and Sir Henry investigate a light on the moor. They briefly encounter a strange man who flees in the shadows, and a distant hound howls, provoking in Sir Henry a mild heart attack. Watson spots a man in the hill in the distance while helping Sir Henry back to Baskerville Hall. Watson discovers it to be Holmes, who has concealed his own arrival to investigate more freely. Now, Selden, wearing St. Henry's clothes, is slaughtered by the unseen hound. Holmes and Watson find his body mutilated in a ritual and a legendary curved dagger of Sir Hugo. The Barrymores confess to have helped Selden, who was their relative, by supplying food and clothes each time he signaled with a light from his hideout. Holmes is convinced that neither the Barrymores nor Selden are connected to the death of Sir Charles. He also figures that the tarantula found in London was stolen by Bishop Franklin. Now, after surviving personal danger in an abandoned tin mine while looking for evidence of a hound, Holmes is able to deduce who unleashed the hound in pursuit of Sir Charles. Holmes explains about questioning Barrymore about the missing portrait. It was stolen because it would reveal the fingers of Sir Hugo's right hand were webbed just like Stapleton's. Finding the dagger stolen, Holmes and Watson follow Sir Henry and Cecil to the moor. Cecile takes Sir Henry to the ruins, where Holmes and Watson hear Cecile reveal her intentions to a horrified Sir Henry, revealing that she and her father are also descendants of Sir Hugo, planning to claim the inheritance as her own once Sir Henry is dead. The hound eventually appears and attacks Sir Henry until Holmes shoots it, causing it to back off. With Sir Hugo's curved dagger, Stapleton attempts to attack Watson, who shoots and wounds him. The wounded hound then attacks Stapleton and fatally mauls him. Holmes shoots and kills the hound, and unfortunately, Sir Henry is emotionally scarred but is unscathed from the mauling of Holmes, as he reveals the hound to be an ordinary dog wearing a mask and looking more terrifying. Cecile tries to flee across the moor, only to fall into the Grimpen Mire and sink to her death, as Holmes and Watson take a shock Sir Henry back to Bakersfield Hall. Back in Baker Street, Holmes and Watson are given by Sir Henry the stolen portrait of Sir Hugo that was found on the Stapleton farm. So why this is very effective? It's a very, very quick movie at 87 minutes, but the plotting and the acting is just tremendous. Now, the screenplay was by Peter Brine, produced by Anthony Hands, again with Cushing, Morell, Lee, Landy, and Oxley. Cinematography by Jack Archer, edited by Alfred Cox, music by the great James Bernard, and distributed internationally by United Artists. Now, ironically, it was a big hit in France as over 1.25 million people came out for this movie. Now, there's several major differences of the novel, including the legend of Hound and Hugo Baskerville is heavily changed. In the original novel, the father of the farm girl who was kidnapped by Sir Hugo Baskerville is away when Hugo kidnaps her. In the film, the father is a servant of Hugo's and is cruelly abused when he begs for his daughter's life. So it was a whole bunch of changes. Now, Sir Henry arrives from all places from Toronto in the novel, while he arrives from Johannesburg in the film. Sir Henry does not suffer a minor heart attack in the book as he does in the film. Now, there's nothing involving a ritual sacrifice or a tarantula or a mine shaft in the novel, nor is Holmes thought to have been accidentally trapped in a cave-in. Now, rather than being Stapleton's daughter, Stapleton is Miss Stapleton, Stapleton's wife in the novel, and is playing the part of his sister. She does not hate Sir Henry as she does in the film, as a far more sympathetic character in the novel. Now, Inspector Lestrade, who appears in the novel, is omitted from the film. Now, in the novel, the Hound is made to look demonic through the use of phosphorus paint, but in the film, the same effect is accomplished with a mask. The Hound was played by a brindled Great Dane. Now, the painting next to the staircase does not go missing in the novel, as Stapleton's webbed hand is a creation of the filmmakers. Now, in the novel, Franklin is neither a bishop nor an entomologist. It is Stapleton rather than Franklin who is acknowledged expert in entomology in the novel. Now, Stapleton does not get mauled to death after being shot by Watson in the book. He simply disappears and is presumed to have drowned at the Grim Pen Mire. Now, Dr. Mortimer is never put in charge of watching over Sir Henry in the novel. Therefore, he's not considered negligent by Watson when Sir Henry ventures out onto the moor alone. Mortimer in the novel is an amiable, unambitious, absent-minded young man. The film's version is much older and has made a pompous suspect from the start as a red herring. Now, the Conan Doyle estate did not approve the changes made to suit Hammer's more horror-centric success. Cushing, however, took no objection to changes, as he felt the character of Holmes remained intact. But you got to understand, with the movie business, even in historical movies, there's going to be changes all over the place. Now, Cushing, again, was a big fan of Sherlock Holmes and brought his knowledge to the project. He reread the stories, made detailed notes of the script, and sought to portray Holmes closer to his literary counterpart. It was also Cushing's suggestion that the mantelpiece feature the Holmes correspondence transfixed to it with a jackknife as per the original stories. Now, filming took place at Shokaham Common in Fresham Ponds, Bowden, Surrey. Now, Peter Cushing Holmes received good reviews at the time, with films and filming calling an impish, waspish, Wildian Holmes, while the New York Herald Tribune stated Cushing as a forceful and eager Holmes. Andrew Morell's Watson has been praised for his far more accurate rendition of the character as envisioned by Doyle, as opposed to the comical buffoon created by Nigel Bruce. However, there was a negative review in a monthly full bulletin stated that any freshly entertaining possibilities in his much film story had been lost in a welter of blood, love interest, and new music. The review also noted unimaginative staging and direction and dull performances. Now, Time Out London has called it the best Sherlock Holmes film ever made and one of Hammer's finest movies. I tend to agree. I give it 3.5 stars out of 4. My only problem is I got the edited version for content. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, it was a 95.4% approval rating based on reviews from 18 critics. Now, according to Kinematograph Weekly, the film performed better than average at a British box office in 1959. So, overall, again, many versions of Hound of the Baskervilles. I read it as a classic comic book. I've seen the black and white versions. I've seen the color version. And it should be redone in 2023 because it's a great tale that should be told in more than one interpretation. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing with our Hammer movies, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.